This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
First came the shrilling sound. Du verfluchte Schwein. You damned swine. Suddenly I felt a cutting pain on my back, my shoulders, my head. The SS officer caught me as I ran down the stairs of the factory where the SS had taken us. It was October 31st, 1942, the day when the liquidation of the Polish Tomaszów-Mazowiecki ghetto began. A few hundred Jews, mostly young men and women, were taken out of the marching columns as the others from our ghetto walked to the railroad station. We were told we were all being sent east to work. The true destination was Treblinka, the death camp, but at the time we did not know the truth about Treblinka. We had heard of other ghettos being liquidated, a euphemism really meaning death. The Germans called it a Siedlung, which meant resettlement. Those who lived in the ghetto and worked for the Germans were assured that they and their families would remain in ghettos, however. The families of the Judenrat and Jewish ghetto police were told the same thing. Everyone frantically tried to work in order to protect their families. Quick marriages were performed for people who had jobs and wanted to try to protect their loved ones. My father and brother worked outside the ghetto for the organization TOT, O.T., a group that had a fleet of trucks to serve the Germans by moving supplies to the soldiers at the front. I had a job from May until July 1942 at the Heereswäscherei Schultz, Army Laundry, where blood-soaked uniforms from the Eastern Front were washed and repaired. But in July, the laundry had closed, and I was without a job. My mother and I stayed in the ghetto hoping that my father's job would enable us to remain where we were. A few days before this fateful day, the families of all slave workers for the OT were taken to a safe place, an empty factory on Stolarska Street. Everyone envied us. They thought we were safe. On the night of October 30, the ghetto was surrounded by SS soldiers and by Ukrainian SS guards. Only those working for the Germans were permitted to leave. Early the next morning, all the men who worked for the OT left for work. Only the women and children remained in the empty factory. Then, about 8 a.m., we heard the dreaded loud knocking at the door, which someone opened to the SS. They ordered everyone to assemble outside in 10 minutes. Wear your heavy working shoes, warm clothing, and carry all your valuables. You may need them, we were ordered. Upstairs, my mother and I dressed hurriedly in layers of clothing, packed extra warm garments in our rucksack, and ran downstairs. In the rush, I left my wristwatch, a 13th birthday gift from my parents, forgotten as we were confronted by the brutality of the SS. We were marched 5 in a row down Stolarska Street toward the railroad station. From every corner, every street, Jews were marching. Old ones, young ones, mothers with babies, children holding on to parents. We marched in absolute quiet. Now and then a shot was heard, but we were too scared to look back. As we walked, we saw an SS officer in front of a small white Catholic church surrounded by a graveyard, pointing to people and pulling them out. As we got near him, he pointed to me, ordering me to step out. It happened so quickly I had no time to turn to my mother, no time to say goodbye. She walked on with the column, and I never saw her again.